5 Feet Apart is a 2019 romantic drama movie. It's about these two teenagers that have cystic fibrosis, which is a disease that affects the lungs. And often, when you're diagnosed with it, you won't live very long because eventually your lungs will just give out and fail. So you have to hope you can get a lung transplant and buy a few more years. And we have these two kids, and they have this disease, and they're on borrowed time. They might die soon, and they're in this hospital. And these two teenagers, they fall in love, and you get to see their relationship develop. This movie is very similar to the movie The Fault in Our Stars, which came out a few years ago, which is about these two kids that were also sick and they found love. Now, that movie was based on a book, whereas this movie has a book based on it. So you know the writing is probably not as strong as in The Fault in Our Stars. And it kind of does show, because The Fault in Our Stars is a little bit of a better movie. This movie is directed by this guy, Justin Baldoni, and he is from the CW show Jane the Virgin, where he is an actor on it. So he doesn't have so much directing experience per se. This movie's written by Daughtry and Tobias Iaconis, and they're pretty much newcomers, so they don't have much screenwriting under their belt. Now, our lead actors in this, we have Haley Lou Richardson as Stella Grant. She is our lead actress with this disease in the movie, and she was pretty good. She was probably one of the big positives of this movie. I thought she gave a good performance. I really cared about her in the movie. I thought she portrayed the disease pretty well, and she was just like a ray of sunshine in the movie. Her love interest in this is Cal Sprouse, and he is from the CW show Riverdale, where he plays Jughead. And he does not wear a stupid hat in this movie. He's kind of like the bad boy who is not really that afraid of death, and he sort of mocks all of the medical regimens they're supposed to do. And when he meets this girl, they're sort of a little bit opposites in the beginning, and eventually they start coming together and they develop this relationship. And onto my pros of this movie, parts of this relationship were pretty interesting. I liked how they weren't allowed to touch each other. So because they both have this disease, they have to stay 5 feet apart from each other at all times, because this disease is very contagious to other people that have the same disease, because your bacteria could like cross-contaminate each other, and you could potentially die from it. So they're not allowed to get close to each other, but they have this romantic relationship where they're not allowed to touch each other. So it's kind of very interesting to see it develop, and what kinds of things they do to sort of show their love and develop this relationship when they're not allowed to get that close to each other. They're not even allowed to kiss each other, for God's sake, right? So that part was pretty interesting. I also thought it was interesting to watch these teenage characters sort of come to terms with their own imminent death coming. So, you know, if you put yourself in their shoes, if you were someone that was potentially going to die soon, how would you handle it? How would you live your life with the moments that you have left? So I thought that was a pretty interesting thing that they explored in this movie. I also thought there were some good moments in the hospital, seeing the two of them, as well as there's another character with cystic fibrosis as well, and they were friends with him, and you got to see sort of their adventures in the hospital and some of the shenanigans they did. So I thought that was really fun stuff there. I also thought it was interesting to learn a little bit about this disease and sort of how debilitating it is for some people. So I thought that was interesting as well. Onto my cons for this movie is that I felt that it was a very psychologically manipulative movie. Now, this movie is going to make you cry, or at least it's going to try very, very hard to make you cry. Now, you know, if you're going to this movie, it's a movie about teenagers that are dying and they fall in love. So you know it's going to be a little bit sad, but I really felt that the way they tried to make you cry was just too much. They kind of held most stuff back for the back third of the movie, and then a whole bunch of bad stuff started happening, and they started piling on top of each other, and it was just a little bit too much. And also, I felt that there was a lot of really sappy and cheesy moments with Jughead's character, Cal Sprouse's character, where he was sort of professing his love for this girl, and it was a little bit too over the top, and it was sort of on top of the fact that he was dying as well. He's doing all these romantic gestures, and of course he's going to die soon. So yeah, it was a little bit much, I thought. Also, when I went to this movie, there was a group of, I think, 13-year-old girls behind me, and they must have been huge Cal Sprouse fans from Riverdale because they love this kid. They love Jughead in this movie. Whenever he did anything romantic, they would be like, "Oh!" They just ate it up whenever he did anything cheesy. And near the end of the movie, when stuff started getting really sad, I was tearing up a little bit, but these girls behind me, they were bawling their eyes out. They were audibly just gasping with their tears. So for some people, this movie is going to make you pretty sad, I guess. In conclusion, while this movie was psychologically manipulative at times and cheesy at times, and Cal Sprouse was over the top at times, when he was dialed back a bit, I did enjoy his character more. I thought Haley Lou Richardson was really good as our lead actress in this, and there was enough romantic moments and interesting moments and fun moments in this that I think I enjoyed this movie more than I did not enjoy it. So I'm going to give this one a mild recommendation. I'm going to give this movie a 7 out of 10.